What's better than all pumpkin everything? Everything you need on GoPhone from AT&T. It gives you unlimited talk, text, and data usage with the first 1.5 gigabytes at high speed. Plus, it's only $40 a month after a $5 auto refill discount. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
First payment is $45. $5 discount applied to monthly rate plan charge upon enrollment and auto refill. After first 1.5 gigabytes, get data speeds up to 128 kilobytes per second. Additional charges and restrictions apply. See store for details.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliate stations coast to coast present
Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue.
The 0-2, swing and a miss, strike three, blew it past it.
Discussing baseball, good drinks, and food.
And you got your honey mustard?
I love mustard.
With Ted Hicks, Todd Vandenberg, and Lee Vowell.
Well, big deal. I am very professional.
Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on the Happy Hour Network.
And welcome to Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue with Todd Vandenberg, Ted Hicks, and Lee Vowell. Like us on Facebook, follow us on the Twitter at Baseball-Beer-BBQ, and read us on our blog site, baseball-beer-bbq.com. We will be joined at the bottom of the hour by Wick Terrell, editor at SB Nation's Red Reporter site, to discuss the latest hot stove moves and the winter meetings. And, of course, we will ask him about Aroldis Chapman. Someone has already unmuted themselves, I see. That's great. Ted, you want to take over the show or what? I'm not done with my flow here. Is that what's going on? You're going to control the show? I'm not done talking. I was about to say that Ted is the power bottom and that Todd. No, go ahead. Anyway, who else do we have to thank now that you've done wrecked my flow? Show's gone. It's done.
That's the earliest ever.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue with Lee Vowell, Todd Vandenberg, and Ted Hicks. And there's so many people we like to thank today. And at the bottom of the hour, we're going to
Hold on. Surely you can hear me. You've already done that. Don't bore the people. Just who else do we have to thank? Otherwise, you know what I could do? I could do this. I could do, let me see. Let me just find one. I could do this all day long.
12th play of the drive, first and goal, rolls in the backfield, I-back, stops, cuts back inside, spins, he fights his way in, he's in, touchdown, Seahawks! Thomas Rawls drags Xavier Rhodes across the goal line, and the Seahawks are on the board.
We could do that.
I'm also a big fan of Lou Rawls. Is there any relationship?
You'll never find
Okay, seriously, let's get back on track.
There's some great people that we
We're
need
actually
to thank.
not pre-showing here. Go ahead.
Oh, this
Go
is
ahead.
not a pre-show? This is the actual live show?
So far, although it may get deleted as far as we're going.
So, you can also hear us at Back Sports Page, RS Sports, XRP Radio in the UK, our good friends NGSC Sports that powers us on the iHeartRadio app, Arena Sports Network, and we have a special friend that tweets us all the time that I'm going to... Todd, you take it over from here.
And we do have a special friend. And normally I open by saying, hello, friends. But Ted stole that for me, so I'm left to say nothing other than, welcome to Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue with Todd Vandenberg, Ted Hicks, and Lee Vowell. Like us on Facebook. And, friends, do you have computer troubles? Are you wanting to toss that bad puppy out the window? And you live on the 7th floor and it's going to hit a little dog and make a mess? Don't do that. Go to Computer Repair NC at CJ Computers NC. 919-653. That's 653, not 653. 8496. If you're in the Wake Forest area, if you're in the North Carolina area, if you are in the Milky Way, no matter where you are, they'll fix it. Period.
Awesome. So, I sent out the outline yesterday, I guess. Todd came up with questions. I sent out the outline. Well, tough. Just go with the flow. So, basically what happened yesterday was the outline kind of wrecked because at the bottom of our little Major League Baseball talk to start with, I think I said something about Jason Hayward, but the Cubs have just blown up the world, right? So, there's no guarantees. Obviously, there's no guarantees that we were last year before the season. We were talking the Nationals were going to win the World Series because they got all the starting pitching, yada yada yada. And obviously, there's no guarantees in sports. You don't know what's going to happen over a long season. But the Cubs, as good as they were last year, with the signing of Zobrist and the signing of Hayward and Lackey being their number 3 starter, they got him. The Cubs are the team to beat right now, right? Either of you?
Absolutely, they are. Yeah, I mean, and just like you said, we all knew it was going to be the Nationals. Of course, they were, because the Mets were the ones that turned out to have the starting pitching. But like you said, they were already a really good team, and the pieces that they've replaced are, they're perfect fits. You know, they needed a little veteran leadership in the pitching rotation. They got Lackey. You know, they needed to upgrade their infield defense and get a little more clubhouse leadership. Boom. You know, Zobrist is perfect for that. And as it turns out, Zobrist was dying to play for Madden again, which, big surprise, right? And now they got Hayward, you know, because they needed to improve the outfield defense. And it's like, good Lord. I mean, it's not like they just, this pretty bauble is out there like the Yankees used to do and just, you know, pay ridiculous sums for whatever. I mean, these are perfect pieces for what they needed. And of course, they'll probably only win like 79 games because that's how baseball goes. But, yeah, I mean, they absolutely look like the club to beat, which that's awesome. I mean, the Cubs fans deserve it, and it's good for baseball because, again, you know, how cool was it that the Royals won? How cool was it that the Cubs and the Mets were fighting it out to get to play the Royals in the series? I mean, it's great for baseball when there's some new blood. So I think this is just everybody other than St. Louis Cardinals fans who are bitter about Hayward leaving, which is ridiculous. It's a business, you idiots. Calm down. You know, it's great. Everybody should be happy about this, I think.
I think they just became America's team.
Yeah.
I really
we should have left
yeah.
it with that. We should have left it at that for like 20 minutes until Wick came on.
Yeah.
And there's a silence. And
hey, just really quick.
Approaches the 16th hole, and he looks like this is a par 3.
I think it's great for the National League. More importantly, it's great for the NL Central because I'm hoping we see what we saw last season, where you have the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs going at it and being, you know, basically the 3 top seeds in the National League. So, great things.
Yeah, and it's always difficult to say the Cardinals are not going to be the favorite in their division because they could play with a bunch of guys who have never played baseball in their lives, and for some reason they keep winning. But, you know, really, you know, the Cubs have taken 2 key parts to last year's Cardinals team, or this past year, whatever you want to call it, we're in between seasons, with Lackey and Hayward. So they've hurt an intra-division rival quite a bit, and Hayward signing is phenomenal for the Cubs, I think. So the Cubs should be the favorite over the Cardinals, right, Todd?
Oh yeah, and like you said, the Cardinals probably will win 100 games with like 2 little leaguers and a paperclip, but because of the Cardinals. But yeah, they absolutely have to be the favorite now. I don't know how they wouldn't be.
Don't you remember a couple of years ago when Pujols left, Lee? It's like they didn't skip a beat. There's something about that organization.
Yeah, and they obviously suffered the loss of a potential star and Tavares who passed away unfortunately. But it's I mean they seem to be able to overcome things, and even losing their starting pitcher, and they still with Wainwright, and of course he came back. He pitched in the playoffs, right? I'm losing my mind here, but he came back and pitched in the season, right? And
incorrect.
Yeah, incorrect. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And so they can even overcome. They've done it in the past with losing Carpenter, and then they lost Wainwright, and they seem to just keep winning for whatever reason. I mean, obviously, do they have the most World Series ever? No. Do they have the most World Series lately? No. The Giants and the Red Sox do, really, but they're still probably the best organization in baseball because year in, year out, the Cardinals do whatever they have to do to win the division and get to the playoffs. And then once you get to the playoffs, anything's possible. But it's hard to, Well, let's move on to the other team that Ted mentioned, the Pirates. Pirates, I thought, what do you think? You had John Neese last year. You picked the Mets. Ted is the Mets. That's why I keep saying you. You picked up Neil Walker, which I think is a good pickup. I think Walker is a really good player. Not a superstar, not an all-star, but he's a solid player who's going to, give you power and driving runs for a second baseman that you don't normally see. How do you feel about that trade?
I feel great about it because Neese was kind of like the fifth wheel. It's good all around because you knew Murphy wasn't coming back. I mean, once they lost out on Zobrist, and a great choice, a huge upgrade. We'll just leave it. We'll just leave it right there because they're in flux. I mean, if you understand, you've been following the Mets as long as we've been doing this podcast together. They are a team that's not built on that 4 and 5 year deal, unless your name is David Wright. So they're built on these type of players that can come in for a year or two, sign a deal, get the pieces in place because they've got pieces in the farm that are coming up. The team is solely built on that. Hey, we've got a core of players that are making $600K a year, sprinkled with David Wright and a few other role players. So I think the trades that they made and the signings that they made, they're going to do great. I mean, I was so excited to find out Miggy Cabrera was signing with the Mets for 2 years for $18.5 million. That's a heck of a bargain.
Asdrubal Cabrera?
Ted.
Because Miggy Cabrera,
Don't do that, Ted.
We've got kids out there listening, Ted, and even though you didn't cuss, you gave them misinformation, okay? We don't need a Donald Trump on the show, okay? But anyway, yeah, I think Cabrera is he's not a great player, but, I think that's a good signing for the Mets. I think they've improved, especially middle infield, not even the defense per se, more the production they're going to get from the bat. Because go ahead, I'm sorry.
Cabrera, Lee, I'm sorry. I was just going to say this really quick. Cabrera is the bridge for Dilson Herrera. Herrera's not ready yet. So give him another 12 to 18 months. He'll be ready to come up and be an everyday player.
So this is, getting back to the Cubs for just a second, this is their projected lineup, according to rotochamp.com, which is, it's a pretty good site. But this is a lineup based on not where they're playing in the field, although they do have their positions. It's more the lineup 1 through 8, and of course the pitcher. But they have Zobrist leading off, Hayward batting second, which is crazy. I mean, the guy's a phenomenal second place hitter. Rizzo in the third spot, Bryant, Schwarber, who's going to play outfield, Soler outfield, Miguel Montero catcher, and Addison Russell is your 8th place hitter, which is silly. But that's a good lineup. And not only is that a good lineup, but defensively, Schwarber is, who knows how he's going to do in the outfield. Not necessarily a great defensive player, but Rizzo at first is good. Obviously, Hayward is a genius when it comes to defense. Zobrist can play anywhere and play it well. Soler has a great arm. I mean, they're not just going to be a bunch of hitters. They're going to be an extremely well put together team. And Lackey, again, that's your number 3 pitcher, with Arrieta being the ace and Lester, who should have a better season even next year than he had this year. And then you get to the postseason, and you've got Lackey and Lester, who played on the Red Sox teams together. They know what to do in the postseason. The Cubs, they got further, I think, than most people thought preseason. Some people thought they might make the playoffs. Some people thought they may not make the playoffs, but they did. And then they made it fairly deep into the playoffs, and they could have made the World Series. They should have, in a way, really made the World Series. But I think the key to the Cubs, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is, we've talked about these other teams like the Nationals last year, so on and so forth. But, with the Cubs, the big difference there is they've got a manager in place who's going to make them better. He's not just going to take I've got this talent and they're going to win, like, Mattingly or Matt Williams, he's going to make the team better. So the team's already improved just by who's in the